Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Ahmad Firdaus Ime bin Hassan.
My name is Umar Akib Abdul Razak.
We from group AS121 4D.
Today, we will explain to you about the overview of hydrogen sulfide.
What is hydrogen sulfide? Hydrogen sulfide, H2S, occurs naturally in crude petroleum, natural gas, volcanic gas, and hot springs. It can also result from bacterial breakdown of organic matter. Besides, it is also produced by human and animals waste. Bacteria found in our mouth and gastrointestinal tracts produce hydrogen sulfide from bacteria decomposing materials that contain vegetables or animal proteins. Hydrogen sulfide can also result from industrial activities such as food processing, coke ovens, craft paper mills, tanneries, and petroleum refineries. Hydrogen sulfide is a flammable, colorless gas with a characteristic odor of rotten eggs. It is commonly known as hydrosulfuric acid, sour gas, and stink damp. People can smell it at low concentration.
Next, I will explain to you about exposure limit for hydrogen sulfide. OSHA and NIOSH have established workplace limits for hydrogen sulfide. OSHA established an 8-hour permissible exposure limit, time-weighted average PLTWA of 10 ppm, and 15-minute short-term exposure limit PLSTEL of 15 ppm for exposed workers. NIOSH established a limit of 300 ppm as the immediately dangerous to life and health concentration. EPA, or Environmental Protection Agency, estimates levels safe for a lifetime exposure at 0.7 ppb. ATSDR, Agency for Toxic Substances and Disease Registry, lists levels for acute at 70 ppb and 30 ppb for chronic levels. EPA health scientists recommend a weighted average of not more than 15 ppb at the residence or 70 ppb at the property line. EPA set the safe exposure level at 0.00014 ppm to protect sensitive people such as children and elderly. The World Health Organization (WHO) in 1981 reported there were no international standards for H2S. Many countries have adopted short-term standards. WHO advises ambient concentration level should not exceed 5 ppb within 30 minutes.
Next, I will explain about the uses of hydrogen sulfide. First, hydrogen sulfide is used primarily to produce sulfuric acid and sulfur. Second, it is also used to create a variety of inorganic sulfide used to create pesticide, leather, dyes, and pharmaceutical. Next is, some nuclear power plants use hydrogen sulfide to produce heavy water, an alternative to regular water that enables nuclear reactor to use ordinary uranium fuel instead of enriched uranium. Next, farmers use H2S as an agricultural disinfectant, and you will find it in some cutting oils, which are coolants and lubricant designed specifically for metalworking and machining process and other lubricants. The health effect of inhalation of hydrogen sulfide depend on how much a person is exposed to. At relatively lower concentration, hydrogen sulfide irritates the eyes, nose, and throat. These effects are especially dangerous for children and people with reduced lung function. Prolonged exposure will result in olfactory fatigue, which is the loss of the ability to smell it. At high concentration of hydrogen sulfide, the ability to smell it is lost instantly. 0 until 10 ppm, you will feel irritation of eyes, nose, and throat. 10 until 50 ppm, it will cause you headache, dizziness, coughing, difficulty breathing. 50 until 200 ppm, it can cause severe respiratory tract irritation, eye irritation, acute conjunctivitis, shock, convulsion, coma, and death in severe case.
Next, I will explain to you about the PAL or control measures for hydrogen sulfide. Safety measures or control are important because hydrogen sulfide is flammable and can spoil materials if they are not properly protected. Use exhaust and ventilation systems to reduce hydrogen sulfide levels. Make sure that the system is non-sparking, grounded, corrosion resistant, separate from other exhaust ventilation systems, and explosion proof. Next, train and educate workers about hazards and how to control the hazards. Establish proper rescue procedures to safely rescue someone from a hydrogen sulfide exposure, and make sure the first responders must be trained and wear PPE properly before entering areas with elevated levels of hydrogen sulfide. But if engineering and administrative controls cannot reduce hydrogen sulfide below OSHA's permissible exposure limit, employers must provide respiratory protection and other personal protective equipment or PPE for the workers. For exposures below 100 ppm, use an air purifying respirator with specialized cartridges for hydrogen sulfide. A full face respirator will provide eye protection. For exposures at or above 100 ppm, use a full face pressure demand self-contained breathing apparatus with a minimum service life of 30 minutes, or a combination full face pressure demand supplied air respirator with an self-contained air supply.
In conclusion, hydrogen sulfide is a very dangerous chemical if there is no complete supervision or precaution. The employers must have their efforts to take care of the situation around the work area, especially areas where workers are always exposed, like providing the great ventilation in the area.
Besides, the employees must provide PPE for the workers when they work in areas that is exposed to the chemicals, like hydrogen sulfide. Among the PPE that they can use while handling these chemicals is to wear gloves, goggles, and so on. As responsible employers as well, they must take properly safety measure as well as chemical exposure testing in places exposed to such chemicals so that their employees can work in safe conditions. That's all from us. Thank you.